looks like it's working. Okay. Custom live streaming, sound on, everybody's muted, and we are ready to go. So, welcome everybody. We are again on live, and we're going to be doing the Bhajan Rahasya by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And we're going to start that today. Yesterday we finished the Chaitanya Bhagavat, and all the readings, recitations are available online on YouTube. And if you go into the playlist, it mentions Chaitanya Bhagavat. You can access them all in order or out of order, whichever way you want to access them, and listen to the Chaitanya Bhagavat again. And now we're going to chant a little bit first. There's a Ekadasi here. So Ekadasi is a very special day for remembering Krishna and reducing your bodily demands, necessities, whatever is there on the bodily demand platform. Don't use them too much. Don't get crazy. Don't get sick. But be practical. So, let's go. We're going to chant Aruna Doya Kirtan, Part 1. This is known as Udila Aruna. Udila Karuna Purabhage Jwijamani Gora Amani Jage Bhakati Samual Loyla Sate Gela Nagara Braje Tatai Tako Kanakana Tai Janjero Reme Jaladara Sanara Kanga Jaranenu Pura Pashe Mukunda Madam Yadhavare Mudina Purore Vadana Puri Nichirina Swase Gelorati Ivashasharira Madhavadeho Payakiko Bhavanakeva Napashile Yashoda Shuta Mebori Ajay Udita Tapana Uve Asta Dina Kelo Eve Vaide Rasta Navekeno Eve Alasanoe Napajaredoya Raje Jivana Deja Janas Asar Jaina Vida Vada Bhava Namashaya Kori Tana Tumi Takapana Kaje Jivera Kanyana Sadhana Kam Jagate Atse Manurana Avikitira Tapana Rupe Rigana Virat Jay Krishna Machuda Koryapa Jurayapa Kativino Praman Namapina Kichu Narikawara Shuktabhuvana Vaje Udinanda Urabhavage Vijamani Gorahamani Jage Vakata Samurod Laila Sate Gela Nagara Braje Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Bol Hare Bol Hare Bol Hare Bol Jai Bol Hare Bol Hare Bol Hare Bol Hare Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada So, Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Parabhacharya, Asta Teta Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace, Abhaya Chadananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anandakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sai Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuram Ki Jai Jagadada Sami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lassi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dejatarni. So let me read the translation to this wonderful poem written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. When the rising sun appeared in the east, the jewel, the twice-born Lord Gauranga awakened, gathering his devotees around him. He set out to preach in the countryside, towns, and villages. Tadai sounded the mridanga drums, and the cymbals chimed in time. Lord Gaurasundar's shimmering golden features danced, and his ankle bells jingled. Mukunda Madhava Yadava Hari chanted the devotees, their mouths filled with the vibrations. Calling out, they preached to the still sleeping people. You spend your nights uselessly sleeping and your days decorating your bodies. Although you've achieved a rare human birth, you do not care for this precious gift. Instead, you refrain from serving the darling Yashoda and slowly fall through your last moments to death. With every rising and setting of the sun, a day passes and is lost. Why then do you remain idle and not serve the Lord of the heart? This life is temporary and full of various miseries. Take shelter of the holy name as your only business. To penetrate the darkness of ignorance and bless everyone's heart, the sweet holy name has risen like the shining sun. Drink deeply the pure nectar of Krishna's holy name, which is the life and soul of Bhaktivinoda. The holy name's aside, there is nothing to be had in all the 14 worlds. And so this is a great introduction to the Bhajan Rahasya, which is based upon the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. How about that? And so here's my brief introduction for the Bhajan Rahasya. The Bhajan Rahasya is a book written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and it details the correspondence between each word in the Maha Mantra, beginning with Hare, second word Krishna. I think you all know the Maha Mantra. Correspondence between each word and different stages in devotional service. And also between the different times of the Lord's Day, which is called the Ashta Kaliya Leela. That means the eightfold pastimes of the Lord that occur every day at certain times, which the devotees or advanced devotees meditate on when they're going about their regular daily functions. So that's basically the Bhajan Rahasya. It teaches us how to chant better, the right mood, connects us to the Shikshashika verses, because each and every Shikshashika verse is connected with each word in the Maha Mantra. So that's the introduction. And it's, as far as the stages of advancement in devotional service, it's based upon a verse in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which I'm going to give you very quickly now, but we're going to read in the context of the text. And that's the famous verse, Edo Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sango Ta, Bhajana Kriya Tatar Nartan Vritisha Tato Nishta Ruchis Tata Ata Shakti Sato Bhavas Tata Prema Bayunjata Sadakama Yam Premnat Pradabhave Bhavitkrama. So basically this verse states that in the beginning there's faith, and then after there's the little faith, there's association with the sadhus. Then one executes devotional service in their association, gets rid of the anarthas, unwanted things, becomes steady in devotional service, gets a taste for hearing and chanting and serving Krishna, becomes completely detached from everything in this world and attached to Krishna, then develops ecstasies, which are called bhava, then arrives at the stage called prema. This is the step-by-step progress. And by executing this process of sadhana and ultimately coming to the platform of bhava bhakti and prema bhakti, one achieves perfection. So anyway, we're going to be going over this verse a little bit more as we go through the text. So without further, as we say, ado, whatever that means. Without further ado, we're going to share the text and we're going to read along, but I'm going to be commenting probably quite a bit. We'll have to see. Let's see if, all right, if I can share this text right now. Okay, there we go. Oh, here we go. Bhajan Rahasya. Oh, good. It's actually perfectly set up for screen sharing. Make it a little bigger. That's good. So I don't have to move anything around except for the chat window, which I can place strategically somewhere, hopefully, so it doesn't get in the way. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, here's the beginning of the Bhajan Rahasya by Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Om Ganat Miranda Shaganan Shana Shakya Chakshur Medikam Yena Tasmai Shiganavaya Maha. So here, first, there's a quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, just to establish the principles, the basic principles behind everything, and the point that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the Yuga Avatar who is presenting Yuga Dharma Krishna Nam Sankirtan. So, of course, the first item in this prayer, but we're going to get to the prayer in a second, that we just quoted you, Ado Shraddha, is faith. So that's the first point. It's going to be connected to the first part of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. First pair of words. It's not each word, but the pair of words. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, that's 4. And then Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, that's another 4. Okay. So this is called Pratama Yama Sadhana, which means bhajan at the end of night, and dealing with Shraddha, faith. In other words, let me translate the word faith, because faith doesn't mean to believe in something. It means what we would call in English implicit faith, or what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami states in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, Shraddha Shakti Vishal Shakahi Sudrita Nishya, that faith means simply doing what Krishna wants. Everything is accomplished. In other words, trusting in the Lord. So part of this word Shraddha is trust, implicit trust, absolute obedience. I mean, all these things are built into this word faith. And the word faith can be defined linguistically as giving one's heart. Da means to give, and shak, which becomes shraddha, shrad here, means heart, give heart. In other words, you give your heart to Krishna. But the first stage in devotional service, Ado Shraddha, is like an initial glimmer of faith, or a little trust in the beginning. It's not full faith that is attained upon perfection in devotional service. So here's the verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Varnam Trisa Krishnam Sango Panga Shraparshadam Yadyai Hit Sankirtana Prayari Bhajanti Bhajami Kale Pavana. Oh, actually, it's a little bit different than the verse in the Bhagavatam. Huh, that's interesting. Anyway, the verse in the Bhagavatam, is a little bit different. Krishna Varam Twisa Krishnam Sango Pagnosh Parsham Igahi Sankirtana Prayari Jantihi Sumedasa. The verse in the Bhagavatam is translated, Krishna appears in Kali Yuga, not in blackish form, but chanting the holy names, and he's accompanied by his associates, Sango Pangastra, and his weapons, actually. Weapons are his devotees, Parshadam, which are his associates. And what do? They perform the Sankirtan Yagya. And in the Bhagavatam it says those who have sufficient brain substance will do this. And here it's translated predominantly through the yajna of Sankirtan I worship the deliverer of Kali Yuga, who is Krishna by nature. It's a little bit different translation, but golden in complexion, and who is accompanied by his associates' weapons as well as his major and minor limbs. Practically it's the same, except it doesn't have the statement as the Bhagavatam has it. Those who have sufficient brain substance do this. Here's another verse. It's a beautiful verse. Nijatve godihan jagati parigriha prabhuriman Hare Krishna Devam Ganana Vidina Kirtiyatabo Iti Prayam Shiksham Chadana Madhupebhya Varidishan Shachi Sunu Kime Nayayana Sharanim Yashyati Padam. Well, the son of Shachi, the master who accepted the people of Gauda as his own in this world, who gave them like bees at his lotus feet instructions to chant Hare Krishna by counting manifest to my eyes. In other words, it's sort of a prayer in the mood of separation. When will he manifest before my eyes, this great personality who appeared in Gaudadesh, which is West Bengal and Navadvip area, and who instructed his devotees on how to chant Hare Krishna? When will I see him? The supreme tattva, here the word tattva means the supreme category of truth, like that. The Supreme Lord, to deliver the jivas of Kali Yuga, came to Navadvip and manifested a golden form. Through the Yuga Dharma of remembering and chanting Krishna's names in association with his limbs and sublimbs, that means his devotees, like Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, Lord Nityananda, etc. And all the branches of the Chaitanya tree that are mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and also the branches of Lord Nityananda. He distributed the treasure of prema. The eternal dharma of the jiva is nama sankirtan. Remember that. What is dharma? Dharma means inseparably connected, something that's inseparably connected from something, like probably gave the example of fire inseparably connected to heat inseparably connected to fire. Got that? So the eternal dharma, the inseparable quality of the jiva, or his activities is inseparable, but he's somehow or other forgotten it, is nama sankirtan. The name is the cause of perfecting all other dharmas. Wow! In other words, by chanting Hare Krishna, we can perfect whatever other dharma, whatever other either temporary duties we have, which are namatika dharmas, or nitya dharmas. Okay, eternal dharmas that are actually part of our constitutional position. In the Vishnu Rahasya, the secrets of Lord Vishnu, it is said, Yadabhyarcha harim bhakjakrite kuratu satarapi palam prapnot yavikalam kala govinda kirtanat. Whatever results one attains by devotionally performing hundreds of yajnas in such a yuga is attained entirely in Kali Yuga by kirtan of Govinda's names. In fact, there's some description you can't even compare one chanting of Krishna's names with hundreds of yajnas or all the holy places like that. Even one chanting of Krishna's names. Wow. Even one. Krishna. In the Brihad Vishnu Purana, it is said, Namno Shayavati Shakti Papanir Harane Hare Tavat Kartum Shaknoti Patakam Pataki Jana. The name of the Lord has the power to destroy more sins than a sinful person is able to commit. That doesn't mean you should use the holy name to destroy your sins and go on sinning, because then it doesn't work anymore. We have to clarify that, and we always stated that when we're giving initiation and glorifying the holy names and talking about the 10 offenses. There's no atonement equal to chanting the holy name. Therefore, the intelligent person will give up karmas. Karmas means like karmakandi activities to try to elevate yourself or counteract things, or prayashchitas. In the sixth canto of the Bhagavatam, this is a famous verse, Tasmat Sankirtanam Vishnor Jaganmangalam Angasam Mahatam Apikarevya Vijakantaka Nishkritam. It says this chanting of the holy name, Tasmat Sankirtanam Vishnor, is the most auspicious activity, Jangan Mangalam, for the sinful material world. Mahatam Apikaravya. Two ways to understand that the great souls recommend this, and the great souls do it, because it is both the sadhana and the sadhya. Sadhana means the process of achieving perfection, and sadhya means perfection. In other words, you chant now to achieve perfection, and then once you've achieved perfection, you keep chanting. You don't stop chanting. Oh, I got my rounds done, thank God. Now get on to my real life. No. Wow. And Vaishnava Chintamani says, Agachet smaranam Vishnor Bhavya Bhavayasena Sodyute Oshta Spandana Kirtanantu Tatovaram. Remembering Vishnu to destroy sin is accomplished with great endeavor. In other words, the process of remembrance, which is actually one of the 9 processes of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. But here it says Kirtan, by vibrating the lips, is better than that. Why is it better? Because you automatically remember Vishnu by remembering his holy name. Like if you try to remember Vishnu, like think of Krishna's pastimes right now, it's very difficult. I mean, maybe I can think of Krishna's pastimes, but not 24 hours a day. Very, very difficult. So instead, simply by going Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's more effective for me, and for you, and for all of us. Using meditation and austerity is difficult. One should take shelter of kirtan by just moving the lips. Prabhupada said when you chant, you have to move your lips and your tongue. Not using the lips is called nama smarana. By either nama smarana or nama kirtan, one attains all perfections. It is established in scriptures that smarana or kirtan of the name is superior to archana. Archana means deity worship. So, it's interesting. So you can't say, I am chanting the names silently, but you're remembering the names, you're not chanting. Remembering the names, and that's also effective. But Prabhupada said it's more effective if we chant out loud. We can hear the holy names. And if we chant with other people, that's called Sankirtan. That means the congregational chanting or complete chanting. So, Yena Janma Shatai Purvam Vasudeva Samarchita Tanmuke Harinamani Sada Tishtanti Bharata. Oh, Bharata. The person who's worshipped Vasudeva for 100 lives will have the name of the Lord on his lips. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean all of us have worshipped Vasudeva for 100 lives? Well, some of us, maybe. But because we have the special mercy of coming in touch with who? His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. All of us. We're here because we came in touch with Srila Prabhupada. We shouldn't think, oh, I worship Vasudeva for many, 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 many births. And I'm simply perfecting my devotional service because I'm extremely pious and extremamente advancado. That's Spanish, advanced. So, the Hare Krishna mantra consists of 8 pairs of 16 names. So, in other words, there's 2 Hare Krishnas and 2 Hare Ramas and 2 Rama Ramas. Yeah, and another 2 Hari Haris. Anyway, 8 pairs of 16 names. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's 2 Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, got it. As explained that the 8 pairs represent the 8 prayers. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 8 pairs. So there's 2 pairs with Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, there's 2 pairs. And Krishna Krishna, there's another pair. Another Hari Hari. Got it. So that's 4 altogether. That's the first part of the Mahamantra. The first pair, Hare Krishna, indicates destruction of avidya. With faith, one should chant Krishna's names. So what is avidya? Vidya means knowledge. Avidya means the opposite. The second Hare, because this is just a brief introduction, okay, indicates all of Krishna's Shaktis. Oh. One should become attached to Bhajan by taking shelter of the name and association of devotees. That's Sangota. Anyway. Anyway, we'll go over that later. That means association with devotees. That's what the second pair indicates. By this bhajan, all anarthas will be destroyed. When anarthas disappear, steadiness in the name appears. Krishna Krishna, that's number 3, indicates that one should steadily, nishta, chant the names day and night while maintaining pure character as a devotee. Hari Hari indicates that one should perform Nama Sankirtan with ruchi, inspired by pure bhakti. So in other words, they're connecting each and every one of the items. So, I mean, later on in this whole reading that we're doing, I'll present some charts that I drew up so you can actually see this in pictorial form. So as we gave a seminar on this literature several years ago, it must have been 10 years ago, during the month of December. Hari Rama indicates Sankirtan along with Smarna while developing a taste for pure servitude. Hari Rama, second Hari Rama, indicates chanting with the sprout of bhava, means emotion, with no taste for material life and great taste for Krishna. Rama Rama indicates taking shelter of Radha's lotus feet and separation with attachment to Madhurya Ras. And the final Hari Hari indicates attainment of the goal, serving Radha and Krishna in prema with the mood of the gopis during the 8 parts of the day. So here is the verse which I recited as sort of an introduction. Okay? And we're going to read it again, because this verse should be part or become part of your memory. It's very important so you understand the progressive path of devotional service. What stage you are at. Whether you're a Kanishta Adhikari, that means materialistic devotee, whether you're a Majjhima Adhikari, middle devotee with great faith but no knowledge of the Shastra, or whether you are an Uttama Adhikari. Not many of those around. So here's the quote, again, with Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It's 1:4:14-15. And this quote is given in several of Prabhupada's books. He even quotes it in the Bhagavad Gita. Of course, Lord Chaitanya of Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami quotes this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can look it up and find Prabhupada's translation. I believe I have Prabhupada's translation here, which I can read to you in a second so we can contrast it. So again, Ado Shrala Tata Saru Sango Ta Bhajana Kriya Tato Nartin Vritti Shat Tato Nishta Richis Tata Ata Shaktis Tato Bhavas Tata Prema Bhajunjatati Sadakayam Mayam Premna Pradubhave Bhavet Kramaha. And here's the translation. And actually, I think I'll read the word-by-word translations after I read this translation given by Bhanu Swami. Incidentally, this particular translation of this book is actually made by Bhanu Swami, my great godmother. That doesn't mean great, like grandmother or something like that. But he's wonderful. By great, I mean wonderful. So let's read the Bhajan Rahasya's translation first. First, there's association with devotees by which one gains faith. Then one associates with devotees to learn the scriptures and then practices bhakti. The anarthas are then destroyed. Steady bhakti without confusion follows. Desire for the Lord appears. This is followed by spontaneous desire for the Lord, asakti, which also means complete attachment. This becomes bhava, and then prema. This is the progression for manifesting prema for those performing sadhana bhakti. So sadhana bhakti means practice bhakti. And two types of sadhana bhakti, for those you don't remember, is Vaidhi bhakti, practice according to rules and regulations, and Raganuga, practice spontaneously when one is understood which resident of Vrindavan you should follow, and basically what your ras is, taste for relationship is in the spiritual world. So let me dive into this a little bit more, and I think it might be good for me to share with you Prabhupada's translation here. And let's see, I have it right here. Let me share the translation, do the screen sharing so we can see this. All right, go off the screen sharing and share the screen again. Here it is. Okay, I think you can all see it. It's a little small. Maybe make it a little bigger. Yeah, that's better. Let me move this to the side a little bit. Okay. Again, the verse. Ado Shrada Tata Saru Sango Ta Bhajana Kriya Tato Nartana Vritti Shat Tato Nishta Richis Tata Atasaktis Tato Bhavas Tata Prema Danjati Sadakana Mayam Premna Pradabhave Bhavet Krama. So here's the word translation. I think it's good to have this because the word by word translation is not there in the Bhajan Rahasya for us to read. Ado means in the beginning. And then you have after that, let me make sure that Hare Krishna, let's make sure it's working. Okay. Just have to make sure the audio here is loud enough. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay. So then you have, okay, in the beginning, that means when you first started, when you first get your Bhakti Lata Bij from your spiritual master, from Srila Prabhupada, that's the first step. And then Shraddha, we actually spoke about that word in the beginning of class, means giving your heart. But in this particular context, it means the initial firm faith. And disinterest in material affairs and interest in spiritual advancement. It doesn't necessarily mean that one has unbreakable faith, but one is starting to get some faith and interest in what some Vaishnava is doing, or what the Hare Krishna movement is, or in the Vedic literature is like that. So Shraddha, firm faith. And Prabhupada also translates that as disinterest in material affairs and interest in spiritual advancement. And then tata just means afterwards. Sadhu sangha, because when you start to have faith and you really want to do something or become disinterested in material affairs, you want to associate with people who are like-minded. That's really important. Really, really important. To associate with people who are like-minded or will help you reinforce that faith or help you make spiritual advancement, and you lose interest in association with others. That's a sign of spiritual advancement, is detachment. Ata, in other words, that's another connecting word, means then. Bhajana kriya. Kriya means activities. Bhajana means the activities of bhajana, or in this particular case, devotional service, which is mentioned in the Nectar devotion, which begins with, according to this translation, approaching the spiritual master, inquiring from the spiritual master how to advance in devotional service, the important items mentioned in Nectar devotion. And then ultimately, becoming initiated. Initiation, in this case, doesn't mean simply getting a name or mantra or whatever. It means making a commitment, a lifelong commitment, a vow, so that becomes unbreakable. So this is what bhajana kriya, and doing the activities of bhajan, worshiping the deities, observing festivals, like that, reading Bhagavatam and all those things like that. So, and then tata, another connecting word, anartha nivritti. This is very interesting. Anartha nivritti means to get rid of things you don't want, or Prabhupada translates it here as diminishing of all unwanted habits. So, in other words, by the process of bhajan, which is association of devotees following processes listed by Srila Rupa Goswami, unwanted habits, lust, anger, greed, illusion, and the activities that accompany those things diminish. They don't disappear immediately. They diminish. Like regular attendance in Bhagavatam class, all this inauspicious in the heart becomes eradicated almost to nil. So they start to diminish. It's a gradual process. Not the first day you start chanting, all your unwanted habits go away. You can, by the process of intelligence, not do anything that's unwanted, but you may still have a inclination to do those things. Okay. Shat tata. There should be tata, then another connecting words. Should be tata. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Then you get nishtha. Then you get firm faith. Firm faith also is discussed by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as steadiness. He actually translates this word as steadiness, both in your bhajan and throughout the rest of your day, which is really important. Bhajan and then the rest of the day being steady. Very, very important. Steady means steady, like it's described about the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, that their bhajan was like lines on a stone, which in other words you can't erase. And then by this you become or get a taste. Really a strong taste. Even in the beginning you get a taste. That taste may be called shadow attachment or beginning or coming attraction. And as long as you don't commit offenses against the deities or the devotees, especially the devotees, then that ruchi will grow. And if you commit offenses, you won't be able to get ruchi. And then you're going to go backwards. Your unwanted habits will manifest themselves again. Like lust, anger, greed, you'll become attracted to those things, and then ultimately you may or will succumb to those things. So you get ruchi. Ruchi is such a taste. like like its favorite food. You're like, you have to eat it. I have to. I have to. Anyway, and then tata, another connecting word, and ata, then connecting. Ashakti, which means attachment, and also at the same time detachment from everything. Because when you're attached to Krishna, then you become detached. Then you become extremely attached to the process of devotional service, extremely attached to the devotees, extremely attached to Krishna, extremely attached to the Bhagavatam, and anything connected. Tata, then connection, then there's a connecting word. Then you get bhava, emotion or affection. And many times we've described the bhavas or the different categories of bhavas, like vibhava, anubhava, sattvika bhava, sansari bhava, sthai bhava. We're not going to get into that right now, but the vibhava means the things that excite your emotions, and the other ones are expressions of emotions or the steady emotions that one feels. Different categories. But then you really get spiritual emotion. You become overcome, and tears come from your eyes when you chant, when you hear the name Gauranga. Gauranga balite habi pulaka shavir. The hairs stand on end in your body. So this happens then. And then tata, another connecting word. Then prema. It's the goal, which of yudhanshati comes or arises. And sadhakanam, this means the devotees are those who are practicing or performing devotional service. Ayam prema, this love of God, in the process of appearing, pradurbhave, bhavet, that is coming, in krama, which means chronological order, means one after the other. In other words, unless you're Kripa City. Kripa City means you get some special mercy. Oh, Narada Muni comes, says, I bless you with pure devotional service. You don't have to do anything. Okay, love of God. Woody Bowl. Like when Narada Muni got Kripa from the sages in his past life during the 4 months of the rainy season. And he also performed devotional service after that. So you could say it's a combination. I mean, we all need Kripa. We all need mercy in order to even just be sadhana siddhas. But generally, one does follow this particular process, step by step. Generally, you don't jump. Oh, I'm on the stage of bhava, but I still have so many unwanted habits. No way, Jose. It doesn't happen like that. Very important to understand there's a chronological process. So let's read Prabhupada's translation. Then we can contrast it with the translation that's given by Bhanu Maharaj in the Bhajan Rahasya. In the beginning, there must be faith. It's basically the same thing. Then one becomes interested in associating with pure devotees. Thereafter, one is initiated by the spiritual master and executes the regulative principles under his orders. Thus, one is freed from all unwanted habits and becomes firmly fixed in devotional service. Thereafter, one develops taste and attachment. This is the way of sadhana bhakti, the execution of devotional service according to the regulated principles. Gradually, emotions intensify, and finally, there is an awakening of love. It's prema. In other words, bhava, prema. This is the gradual development of love of God for the devotee interested in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. That is wonderful translation. So is the other translation. It's quite wonderful. We'll just look at the other translation for a second. All right, and it's almost time for questions. Bhajan Rahasya, here we go. It's a little bit different. Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same thing, but different words, and it's not mentioned about initiation here, but that's actually part of the process of practicing bhakti. So very, very important verse. And maybe we'll even go over the verse every day. I'm not sure. Let me think about it. Because this whole Bhajan Rahasya is based upon this particular verse. And the correspondence is with stages of devotion, primarily stages of devotion, then also Krishna's time of Krishna's day in the Ashtakali Leela. And anyway. So, and the Shikshashya, sorry. Okay, so we are going to take questions. Normally we end a few minutes before the end of class to take questions, so I can see that this class is going to go a little slower than the previous classes. It's not just reading, it's actually a lot of explanation for the devotees, which is very important. If you learn what you're going to hear, or remember what you're going to hear in this class, you'll advance very quickly in devotion, and practice and apply it. You'll advance very quickly in devotional service. So let us stop sharing, and you can ask questions by typing in the chat window, raising your hand, not raising your hand on the screen. Don't do that. But raising your hand in the reaction little heart at the bottom of the screen, you'll see that. And I'll call on you, and you can unmute yourself, because I'll give you permission to unmute yourself. So, does anybody have a question about today's class? I see one question here. Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. Gopal, you have a question. Okay, Gopal, and Ironic has a question. Okay, first Gopal.
Please accept my obeisance, Srila Gurudev. You were talking about spending time with like-minded devotees and seeking out like-minded devotees. But especially in today's world with the internet, where we can have access to all devotees all over the entire planet.
Yeah.
Sometimes we find ourselves in the association of those that prefer to find fault in their god brothers and god sisters, or complain about a variety of things. It may not be the best association, and yet that may be where our minds are at, and therefore we gravitate towards that. So how to find the balance between like-mindedness and finding those who lift us up to be a better version of ourselves.
Well, I mean, how to find the balance? You got to figure out what your desire is. I mean, if your like-mindedness, like-minded devotees means devotees who are envious, proud, fault-finding, then you may not really want to advance so quickly. So therefore, if you really want to advance, even if your mind tends to gravitate towards fault-finding, then you control yourself and do something different than what your mind wants. That's called the intelligence platform. I want to advance, but my mind is somewhere else. So, actually, to be more specific, it's like desire. You know, we usually use the expression like mind. So let's be more specific. It would mean who have a desire, ultimate desire, like me. Like I may have an ultimate desire to be Krishna conscious, but my mind may gravitate towards the stool-like association of fault finders. I mean, there's so many faults. We can look at the moon, like Srila Prabhupada said, and we can criticize the moon for having spots on it. But there are so many faults. Let's say even in the Krishna conscious movement, not everything is perfect. But if we find faults, that means we have the mentality of a bug, like a fly who looks for the stool. So, not everything's perfect in the Krishna conscious movement. Nobody said it was. There's going to be so many issues, so many problems, so many people may not be on the up and up for one reason or other. But don't throw the baby away with the proverbial bathwater. like that. So use your intelligence. You may really want, I want to hear this fault finding. The mind wants, but my intelligence and my soul want something different. So you use again the reins, uh, that is, use the reins, the mind to control the senses, and the driver is the intelligence. So take charge of the reins. Anyway, that's all I can say. So
Thank you,
differentiate
Buddha.
between the intelligence and the mind. Standard answer. Okay, so Radhika, you have a question. You can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my obeisances.
Speak a little louder.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's better.
Good. Well, I like the way that you dissected the verse. That was like helpful to like understand it better. And my question was for like the part where it was breaking down like the different parts of the mantra, like in the pairs.
Yeah,
Are those supposed to be the parts of the mantra that relate to the Shikshashtaka?
yeah, yeah. But Hare Krishna refers to the first verse in the Shikshashtaka. Hare Krishna refers to the second verse, second Hare Krishna, of course. Krishna Krishna refers to the third verse. Hari Hari, fourth verse, and then you go through the whole mantra.
Okay, I was a little bit confused because while we were reading that part, I was trying to think of like the correlation, but I was having trouble understanding how they're correlated.
Yeah, each pair, Hari Krishna refers to the first one, right? Cheto Darpanam Arshanam Bhava Mahadvagni Vapanam, the first uh, Shikshashika verse. That's how Bhaktivinoda Thakur is meditating on that. And then also refers, as I mentioned before, to the different stages of devotional service, also refers to the different times in the Lord's daily activities, which are called the Ashta Kali Lila, the eightfold pastimes. That's why the first pastime, number one, is called, the end of night, or the awakening. That's the end of night. And if you read Ashtakali Alila, which is really advanced, and I'm not advising anyone to read it, you hear about the very intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna, how they're awake, and that's hinted in this particular book, but not gone into in great detail. So that's why this particular book is not considered one of the intimate literatures. It's considered more philosophical, with a hint of the intimate pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
That makes sense. Thank you.
All right, and actually we're going to end because I have a schedule, which means finishing up for the day, taking rest and time, so I can get up at 2:30 in the morning. So we want to thank you all for joining us, and we will continue tomorrow. I don't think I'm giving the Sunday feast lecture tomorrow, so we'll continue with this study of the Bhajan Rahasya by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and you're invited to see it on the internet if you want to go over what we talked about today. Okay, thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada, Ki